pouring out of the hive. Look at all them bees. Well, hello there. How's everybody doing tonight? Are your bees keeping you busy? Mine sure are. I've had a busy week this week between checking on the folks' hives that I help with, and then playing with my own bees, pulling supers and extracting honey, and then getting the supers back on. It's been a fun week. Well, hopefully somebody will pop on here in a little bit and I'm not just talking to myself. But what's everybody been up to this week? I'm just saying hello to everybody. Lots of folks popping in. Yeah, it's been a busy time here this week. Y'all that follow me at my channel and all, you know, I don't wait for my supers to get full before I pull them, and I usually pull fairly early in the year. So the time came. I get out on the deck every day and with my binoculars, checking out the tops of the poplars and seeing when the blooms are coming. And I finally saw one bloom, so I knew it was time to pull my spring honey. I like to pull the lighter stuff before the tulip poplar kicks in. Give my customers a choice because some of them like the lighter stuff and some of them like the good old burgundy darker tulip poplar honey. A lot of them say they like the light stuff, and then when I let them sample both, they end up liking the darker. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, I went ahead and pulled honey, and I guess I pulled it yesterday. You'll know too from following me that I don't always. It don't matter to me if it's capped or not if the moisture is close, because I can dry it down. I think the highest that I measured was 19. There was some 17, some 18, a few boxes of 19. So I put it in my little drying room that I turned my breezeway or our breezeway into a drying room and stick the honey out there, and I can drop it about a point a day. So I stuck it out there for 24 hours and dropped it down below 18. Even got some as low as 16, but I went ahead and extracted that today. Had an average of around 17, which is about where I want it. So it's probably the lightest honey that I've ever made. So it's still in a bucket right now. You really can't tell till you get it in a jar. But from looking at it, I believe it's going to be the lightest that I've ever had, which my light is still dark compared to some folks' honey. Some people that pull out some black locust and different things that look like almost looks like water. I never have anything like that. So but this is pretty light, and it is tasty. It's got a nice floral note to it. So I think folks will like it. So I'll get the foam off the top of it tomorrow, and then I'm off to Denton to a military show on Saturday with Bertha. We got an event tomorrow at a local middle school. They have a World War II day. So we'll be loading up Bertha bright and early in the morning and taking her down to that. Show her to the 8th grade. They split the 8th grade up into little groups of about 20 folks, and the reenactors are there, and there's all kind of folks there. And I'll get to tell them all about the half track, and they'll climb on board and take selfies. And it's a fun day. It's going to be toasty. But yeah, I got that tomorrow, and then Denton Saturday. So I'll probably jar a bunch of honey on Sunday. That's my plan anyway. And then it's going to get cold again Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night. We're back down in the 30s and 40s. It's not going to freeze, but it's going to be cold. So wasn't really expecting that. I helped Michelle drag all of her plants and pineapple plants and all kinds of stuff out on the deck, and we thought we were good to go. So we'll have to turn around and drag us some stuff back in the house, but that's okay. It's not too big a deal. So if anybody wants to hop on, the link is pinned. I think it ended up pinning at the bottom. Mark said it was at the bottom. I don't really control that. You just click pin the link and it pins it wherever it wants to. So don't know how to fix that. So what's going on over here in the chats? See what's Gigi got going on. Yeah, that's kind of the way it works. Some get drawn, some don't get drawn. Have you got much of a flow going on yet? A big old flow seems to fix everything. Oh, how much did you extract? I ended up getting almost exactly the same as I got in my first pull last year, right at 25 gallons, around 300 pounds. So that's right where I started out last year. I'm about a week earlier this year than I was last year. Last year, first pull was the 21st. This year, it was the 14th. So yeah, about 300 pounds. So that's enough to get in jars and get me going. I've got a lot of customers wanting honey. Our market starts up May the 6th, I think is my first farmer's market. But last year I actually had another pull early May. You know, if y'all were paying attention to my channel last year, you saw I had 3 pulls really close together. It was like April 21st, May the 2nd, May the 10th. Something like that. And it was a total of about 1,400 pounds on those 3 pulls. Something crazy. But who knows what it's going to be this year. We got a lot of dry weather. A lot of folks say that's going to hurt our nectar. I'm sure it will to a certain extent. Thankfully, a lot of my poplars are down running along branches and springs and creeks. So hopefully the roots have still got some water in them. So we shall see. Like I've said to several folks here lately, you really don't know what you got till you get it in a bucket. So there's Brian popping in from way out west. Let's see. Hope said he's going to put some escapes on tomorrow. Let's see. Dennis has a question here. Pulled a box off a hive today and rendered honey. Should I rush and put the box back on or wait and make them draw more comb out? That's kind of your choice, but man, I like to get those wet supers back on. When I got through extracting today, I brought the tractor down, loaded up the wet supers, and I got them back on today. You know, I don't like, but I'm not drawing any comb right now. I'm just filling supers. So I don't know why you really couldn't do both. Maybe put the box you want to draw below a wet super, and that would kind of entice them up into the box of foundation. So I believe you might could do both. But yeah, I love to get them wet supers back on. The ladies, you can almost hear them rev up when you put the wet supers back on. You know that smell of honey is just awesome to the bees in the hive. There's JW. Well, hello. How you doing?
Just walked in. You may get to watch me eat. You looked a little lonely. I tried to get here in time.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Eating on a chat is fine. Obviously, a lot of folks do that,
No, I
so
do that quite frequently. Yes, you
so no problem there. So how
uh,
you been getting along? You still making splits and got way too many hives than you need?
finished up today.
Okay.
Finished up today. Started adding a few supers and queen excluders, and I've got of all my splits, horizontal and verticals both. If they all come through, I'll have 98.
98.
I've split 71.
Wow.
17 nukes and various splits of all sorts of nature. I just finished up about 2 hours ago. So a little bit tired. So
Yeah. Did you really start the year thinking you was going to have 100 hives?
I don't ever excuse me, I'm about to I don't ever plan it. I just run by the seat of my pants. Whatever happens, happens. I've got a guy coming Saturday to look about buying some hives, so I need to get rid of some of them. I've got too many.
Yeah. Well, I feel um, ashamed that I think 30 is too many, but I've, I want to stay in the mid 20s. But I've got probably I'll probably sell 4 of them anyway, and I've got several more nukes going. I might
Yeah.
hold on to them for resource hives through the season. But yeah, I really don't want 30 going into the dearth. Um,
I got a couple of horizontals that I got from Ricky that I use primarily for resources. I don't ever or rarely take any honey out of them. I usually just pull them, honey for resources for other conventional hives. I run all, I say all. I'm trying to get to go to all A-frame stuff, but I've still got, I think 11, 10 frames.
okay.
So hate them. Too hard to find my queens and going through all that many frames of stuff on my vertical splits. I use double screen board for vertical stuff. There's just too many bees. They're all packed, and I have no queen cells. So I may be way ahead of myself on optimism. That's so far so good, but I've did all my splits with no queen. I'm letting them all make their own. They all seem to be, but I haven't been back in them to look for eggs or anything yet.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of that. I don't do a lot of grafting anymore. My wise, I've got to where I can't see good enough to be proficient as a grafting. I'm lucky if I get 50% on my grafting. So and I'm telling you, folks, I've been at this game a day or two, and it's Mother Nature. They can raise a lot better bees than I can make with grafting. So I'm pretty much of a let nature take its course type guy for the queen rearing. So, but I went through 57 hives. I don't know if you happen to hear. I popped a question in on my good old buddy Greg Burns last night, and I think he thought I was kidding him. But I went through 57 hives. I did
Woo.
not find one supersedure or one uh, swarm cell in 57 hives. So a lot of them I just put back together and reverse. I did have to reverse some supers. Most of my activities, I run all double deeps pretty much. Most of my activities was in the top boxes. I did reverse them and stuck a queen excluder on the ones that I reversed, and let them go after it, make some honey or make some queens. Some of them I split for queens, some of them I split for honey. So we'll see
Yeah.
what.
Yeah. Talking about queen cells, I hear a lot of people say that they think once a big flow kicks in, it kind of squelches the tendency to swarm. What do you think about that?
No, it'll make a difference, yes. And sometimes, you know, bees have a way of making a liar out of you. Last year, uh, Tom and Melissa Stossman came out here and they pulled, I don't know, I'm not going to say, I may be lying. I think they pulled 27 nukes out of my hives. And it ought to pulled them way back and resolved. And I had more swarms, not because they were here. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not blaming them. I had more swarms last year than I had the previous 10s. I had 17 swarms out of my hives last year.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I'm trying to avoid that, but I'm not pulling any nukes out of them this year. So we'll see what happens. See if I'll go back to my old ways. That's the first time I'd ever just pull nukes out other than making a few for myself.
Mm.
So I've got 17 right now, queenless nukes, and I'm feeding them all.
Mm.
And but the flow, depends on. I've got everything I've got that blooms here is blooming right now, except we don't have any blackberries yet. They're budded strongly and starting to show a little whiteness in the buds. And my local, those guys I call it the Drew side, the guys, my friends there from Missouri, they say they've got uh, black locusts. My black locusts aren't even leafed yet, let alone blooming. It'll be. I'm going to say it's going to be 2 or 3 weeks before I'll have black locusts. But I really don't. I'm not a big fan. It's too light. It won't keep in the bottle. So if I do have my black locust anymore, I mix it in with my other honey because it's not a good keeper.
Mm.
You give it to your customers and they're not experienced honey people. It 2 to 3 weeks. A lot of times it'll want to start crystallizing on you. So
Yeah.
I mix it in with other stuff, make it last a little longer on the shelf.
Yeah, what little bit of black locust I got around here, it's starting to bloom now. So
See, I don't have any of your stuff. Your
mm,
poplar. Oh, there's
yeah,
a few trees around, but they're just not in my area. Most of
yeah,
them's planted,
yeah.
that's around me. You got to get. I'm 25 mile west of the Indiana line there in southeastern Illinois, but you get 50 mile east of me. It's very prevalent, the black
Mm.
locust is. But I have very little. I don't have. I have pretty much a medium amber. I don't have any dark honey whatsoever.
Mm.
That my bees produce here. It'll be a medium amber. Be my darkest, and I'll have some light stuff. But I try to keep it all about the same.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Like I said earlier, this what I pulled or extracted today is about the lightest I've ever seen. But even my lightest stuff is not that light.
yeah.
So uh, light to me is kind of dark to somebody else. But then the tulip poplar always makes a darker honey. So that's just that's just the way it is around here. That's what you get.
Well,
What's your what's your weather like out there? Are y'all as dry as the rest of us, or you've been? Now
no,
you were having a bunch of floods, weren't you?
I got rained out twice yesterday trying to
Yeah,
fix
that's
my
right. Y'all
my
been getting soaked. I forgot.
Yeah, actually, I got rained out twice yesterday afternoon, splitting bees. I'd have to put them back together. I tried to keep them from getting wet. I'd get about halfway through a hive, and here would come another thunderstorm. And I had like I said, I've had a half inch, and I've had an inch and a half in the last approximately 10 days here. So we're in pretty good shape
Okay.
weather-wise. Uh,
Yeah, we're
that's just the best, and I've got. I've got bush honeysuckle, I've got autumn olive, I've got everything's blooming. Like I said, except for the black locust and my blackberry, which is both a pretty good flow for me. That'll stretch it out. We have about I'm going to say sometimes we have a 30 to 45 day flow, in my area here with various, even the oak trees and stuff like that is blooming right now here. Pin oaks, bur oaks. So,
well, Feathers, thank you for the super chat. I really do appreciate your support. Appreciate you being on here. Yeah, we're way short on rainfall around here, total wise.
we've had what I call drought years in the past. I can't tell, honestly, a great big difference. Them little ladies, as you call them,
Yeah.
they got a way of finding nectar where it don't seem like it's possible to exist, but they'll find it. You know, I'm not saying it don't affect it somewhat, but it doesn't uh, affect it like you might imagine, in my opinion.
I think it was Tom was out visiting Brian and said it was brown everywhere he looked, and the bees were just bringing in all kinds of nectar and pollen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this seems like they find a way. Yeah, Brian's got a question there. What's your hat today?
Maybe I can get it. That's the
Uh-oh.
real McCoy. If I can get it to come in. Ron, can you read it? Soapstone Farm to the honeybee underneath it. That's my own personal
Okay. Okay.
hat, but it's got. I was. I had this hat made. It wasn't a week old, and I was. I was dipping. I was dipping boxes, and I had one splash out and splashed all over my hat. And uh, my wax dipping compound don't wash out of your hats. It's pretty water resistant and soap
Yeah.
resistant. So it's that's my work hat.
Now, are you through dipping boxes, or are you still doing that?
I hope I'm through
Okay.
for a while. I've dipped. Well, Matt came out and helped, but between the two of us, and mostly, and then I did some for some other folks after they were out here. But I've dipped right at 1,500 pieces this spring.
Mm, that's awesome. That's a lot.
That's about all I need really for a while. I'm pretty well caught up, I hope. That's not. I don't do it commercially. I don't. I've got a few friends that I do for them, and if they want to donate something towards the wax cost, well, that's all I expect. I'm not trying to make anything out of it. I've actually got two wax dippers. I got an old one and I'm out, and I bought a new one off of Jed Thorne, this spring. Really like it. It's a good piece of equipment if you got a lot of stuff to wax.
Mm,
So, and I do wax dip everything. I haven't painted any hive boxes, 15, 17 years probably. I've waxed.
wow.
I started wax dipping before wax dipping was the thing to do because I
That's
hate.
hard to say. You were doing it before it was cool.
Yeah, yeah. I was, I was also country before country was cool too. You heard the song. I don't know where all your other buddies are. I was hoping you'd get some on and I could kind of drop off and eat here.
Yeah, you're stuck with me now.
Yeah. Yeah, I won't.
I don't know. I never
I
know
won't
who's going to.
abandon you as long as we can come up with something to talk about. So,
I never know who's going to pop in. But yeah, y'all over in the chat. If anybody wants to pop in, please do.
yeah.
There's a question for you. If you wax dip, do you have to ever refresh it?
I've got some that's pushing 20 that's never been refreshed. So let's put it that way. And it'll still beat up water you pour it on it. So I'm gonna say basically no. You never say never to anything like that. But if you get the crystal in it, the right amount of crystal in your wax, straight wax just won't penetrate. It's the crystal that actually penetrates into the wood. I've got some inch stuff that I've penetrated, and that I've dipped, and it'll be pretty well penetrated all the way through. If you cut it, cut a cross section out of it. So it's not cheap. Wax dips, and the people, I don't do it because it's cheap. I do it because I hate to paint. I always have. My mama got me to where I hated to paint when I was a kid, so I'll do anything.
Me too.
I'll do anything to keep from painting. So, but if people's considering it, wax dipping is a very, very good product in my opinion, but it is not cheap. So.
Let's see, Pitbull asking there, what's your mixture, or is that proprietary?
No, I'm not a proprietary man. What I'm using right now is uh, is the is a self is a pre-mixed mixture, and I don't know exactly what it was. I used to get all my stuff from an outfit in Knoxville, Tennessee, on my wax when I first started, and I'd use 50/50, a standard uh, a standard wax, and then run a microcrystalline 50/50 mixture with it. But I don't know what the true mixture is on this wax. It comes out of Canada, called Hive Guard is the commercial name, and I've never checked into uh, the mixture. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd
So
be
it's pre-mixed when you buy it. You're not
Yes,
buying
it's
the different.
already mixed in the. They come in 5 pound blocks, which it'll be 10 of them in a package, or package block, 50 pounds in a cardboard, and each individual it'll have 5 pound blocks of it in there. So
Put a little Dapper Dan in your hap dip
yeah,
mixture.
well, I just happened to drop a frame in the water. In the wax dip, and it was. The only good thing about it is that stuff dries. Cools almost instantaneously. I've got burned a couple times, but you have to get a pretty good dose of it for it to really burn you badly. But people, the smarter people, have got enough sense to wear glasses and stuff like that I don't normally do, or wear a long sleeve shirt. I guess like to get stung and like to get burnt. I don't
Yeah.
wear all that safety equipment, which you should probably. I'm not promoting not to do it. I'm just saying what I do.
Mm.
I'm not real safety conscious.
Let's see, Joe asking if he wants to get a brand for his boxes. Can he brand the ones that are already dipped, or will it mess them up?
I'd say it would not mess them up. Uh, it's not gonna. It may burn it out right where. I actually torch on my box, my new boxes before I wax dip them.
Oh, you do torch them?
Yep, I certainly do. Mm. Now I don't torch them real dark because, in my opinion, I used to use but I didn't use it. I've experimented with the Eco Wood, and it's a good product as a preservative. Uh, the copper solution, the Eco Wood, it's very, very user friendly, but it'll get the hive bodies too dark in the summertime. If you get your bodies, it makes a big difference on the bees bearding. From the heat. Them darker boxes, you can tell a big difference in the ones that you leave relatively light. So I just torch them enough to bring out the grain and the wood so that it all makes them pretty, so to speak. That's the reason I do it. So, but you don't want to overdo it and and actually burn your boxes because it makes them too dark, and then the heat will affect him.
Ooh. Well, I noticed my bees were awfully spicy today. Um,
I
don't
run
really
just
know
the opposite.
the what.
Pardon my interruption. I read this the opposite. I worked all day, just like in bees all day, just like I'm dressed right now.
Yeah,
I didn't have nothing on except what you're looking at for my bee working gear because I just come in the house and, like I said, come on your chat. So, got my
yeah.
dirty overalls and
There you go.
it's got bee wax all over me.
Make them last longer.
Yep.
But yeah, usually the bees, I tell everybody in the springtime, the bees could care less what you're doing. You're just in the way. On over in
Yeah.
late July and August around here, the dearth, then they get spicy. But I had several chasing me around today, so I don't know.
Never had one bee even face butt me or anything today.
Yeah,
Mine were very pleasant. So that's pretty unusual. Usually you'll have one or two that, wants to be tough guys and give you a
yeah, okay.
problem. But I'd never had one today, and I was probably in oh, 15 or 16 different hives today. I had the air full of bees. Some of them that I reversed the supers and added stuff to them and was doing some splits. I did a couple of horizontal splits and 4 or 5 verticals today. So, but I may not have very good results because I do not have one. I didn't put a cell in nary a split nor nary a nuke, and I made 17 nukes in the last 10 days. So, in between rainstorms.
Man, that's a lot of hives.
Yeah. It ain't a lot for you compared to people that's got a lot of them. That's all I can tell you.
Well, Clay, they were spicy when I was putting the wets back on, not when I was pulling the full ones off. So they uh, they were just waiting for me, I reckon.
You
He'll be
upset
back in a minute. We'll get him.
packing them all together, taking off their they hold grudges. Bees do when you if you steal their well. If I'd come to your house and steal your food, what would you welcome me back the next day?
Yeah, I'd probably remember you.
Well, that's what you got to give them ladies that you talk about all the time. You gotta You got to remember, they got a memory too.
Yeah, I
Some of the
guess you're right.
experts says they recognize you. I don't know. I don't think they actually recognize me, or they'd be a lot ornery to me than what they are. What do you think? You think the bees recognize you?
I don't know what I think about that. It's not like we're in the hive every day, so we're good buddies. Uh, if a bee don't live but 45 days and you only
Yeah.
inspect every couple of weeks, it's not seeing you but a couple of times. So
Yeah,
I
I've got a
don't know.
lot of them that never see me. I get on to I get on to Matthew sometimes. A good buddy. I tell him he's in his hives too much. He aggravates him too much. He's getting better as he gets older, though. I will give him credit for that. Hello,
Hey
Matt.
guys,
How you doing?
I am having a wonderful day.
Good deal.
How are you guys doing? Oh, here we
Yeah,
go.
that's fun.
Doing good. Everybody's coming in. Hey, Tom.
Good evening, guys.
Yeah, well, not just, but I got back from my out yard today, and I'm in Canada. Don't forget, and I was really excited. I had one hive that was so big and robust. I decided, well, I'm going to try and use Bill's technique and make get it to make some queens. And I went in there today, and sure enough, 50% take on my first go, and for me that is phenomenal. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, good for you.
So I got all kinds of queen cells right now. They're all looking really good.
You got plans for all of them?
No, I have too many actually. It's funny how you go from I could use a few to no, I have way too many.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always wondered about that. People, it's like I can get 45 on a frame. It's like, well, dang, what am I going to do with 45 queens? But yeah, well, congratulations though. You did good.
Yeah, you think about that. Like if you were to fully kit out a hive, it's like, what are you paying? Like retail, like $500-600. Your top board, bottom boards, all the frame, all the stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's like you just got 45 queens.
Yeah.
$600 each. That's a lot of kit.
There you go.
But
so, Tom, what are you up to besides working too hard?
Right now, I'm just zoning out.
Yeah, you had that glazed look there just a bit.
I feel it. Melissa has me working too hard.
Got to keep them busy.
Trying to get Irwin and Sons Enterprises off the ground. The old man ain't pulling his weight. Trying to build an empire, one piece at a time.
One queen at a time.
Good luck.
Well, I only fail if I quit trying, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
That's right.
I finally got through this round. I finished it up about 2 hours ago. I'm just telling Keith. I did every split I've made. I do not have. And I think Greg Burns, I asked him what they was talking splitting last night, and what was the better splits. And he was taking questions. I don't know if you seen it or not. I said, Greg, I've been through 57 hives here in the last 3 days, and I have my first queen cell of any kind, and I've completed my entire check of hives, trying to split them, and every split that I made and every nuke that I made are absolutely queenless. Wasn't a queen cell in anything. I never found one cell, supersedure cell. I never found one in 57 hives of any kind. And I was amazed. Are you finding a lot of cells in your stuff?
Talking to me?
Yep.
Not too many.
I haven't found any. I mean, absolutely not zilch, zero.
Oh, so are you having nectar flow in your area?
Oh yeah, everything's blooming and the nectar coming in. You pick up a hive, if it's got nectar in it, it's dripping every place. You know,
Yeah.
every frame. You know, my frames are full of nectar.
When did that start for you? Do you recall?
Yeah, about 3 or 4 days ago.
About the same as for me.
Yeah.
It was let me think about this now. Well, it's been a little more than 3 or 4 days. Last Friday and Saturday. So I had split a bunch of yards that week before, and it was borderline where I was a little worried. I'm like, if this plants don't open up, I'm going to have to feed. And I really did not want to break into any of the sugar and start feeding because I knew once things opened up, it was just going to, like a faucet, start flowing. And then they start getting nectar bound in a matter of 3, 4, 5 days, It just happened so fast.
Yep.
And so I made the judgment call and held off. And by the time I got to that weekend, I split a yard on Saturday and introduced a bunch of queen cells. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm seeing a few frames of nectar. And then I just stand it on the edge and it drips out. And I'm like, well, this is from today.
Yeah.
And then I went on Sunday and split my home yard because I didn't know the condition of where those were at as far as strength. I hadn't paid much attention to them because it's the least amount of hives, but I didn't want them swarming to any neighbors' trees. So I went in there and they had more frames of wet nectar in there. So I'm like, okay, we've just started to flow. So I think that ours started probably Friday or Saturday of this last week, and it hasn't stopped. Every frame that I checkerboarded in those colonies is either mostly drawn out or has a very good start on it.
Mm-hmm.
And we checkerboarded anywhere from 4 to 5 on a weak colony or weaker colony, and maybe more like 7 to 8 on a bit of a stronger one. So, and I actually threw supers on today. I went back and did checkbacks on the queens that we taped up, untaped them, and sometimes they chew through the tape themselves and have the queen released. So as soon as I see that, do a quick check, I close it right back up, and I'll leave them alone now for the next 10 days.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was amazing how much is poured in, but I don't know. There's almost a point in which I feel like that it can be too much because sometimes they'll fill up the combs faster than they draw the wax out.
Yep.
And then I start worrying about after I've supered, then I get a little concerned that now the queens really run out of space very quickly, and then now they start building swarm cells. So,
Yeah, I'm putting excluders and everything I don't know what to do with. I'm throwing this an excluder and a super on it, just for protection.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we were doing. I said, I'm just going to super them up. Even some that still had combs to draw on the downstairs brood box, I threw them on.
All my double deeps are all in the top boxes. I'm reversing every one of them, or practically every one of them. If I don't split them, I'm reversing them and the Queen's clover and a super because they haven't, any of them moved down yet. I
Really?
think very few. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, mine are occupying both boxes now.
Yeah, some of them they are, but if they're not, they haven't moved down yet. I'm going to say 40% of them haven't moved down. The double deeps haven't moved down. The bottom box practically empty.
So let me ask you this: on average, what would you say the brood frames are? How many fairly full brood frames are you seeing?
Oh, in the 8 frames,
Yeah.
I'm going to say average is 6.
Okay.
I've got plenty of brood, where they're at. They're just not, they just have queens, plenty of eggs, plenty of bee bread and stuff. They're packed.
But they wouldn't, a lot of them have not pushed down.
I'd say 40% of them is.
That's interesting to me. I almost never reverse brood boxes. One, I'm just a little bit lazy, but I always find that those queens push down on their own just fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Mine have it this year.
Okay.
I've always had mine do it, but this is one of the first years I've done it in a long time, so.
I wonder if our area over here, for some odd reason, might be just a tad in front of you.
Well, I think you are, according to what, Matt tells me,
Yeah.
I don't, for instance, my blackberries are just they're budding and just a little white starting to show in the buds. They haven't even flowered out yet. And my black locusts, they're not even leafed out yet.
Really? Okay, so this is the earliest that I've seen in my area. Within the last 2 days, black locust have gone from not open to open. So it's full on. I mean, when there's copious amounts of those trees in an area that the bees can fly to, I have seen myself them fill a couple boxes in short of 7, 8, 9 days. Ken, the guy who's had bees longer than me, recently retired gentleman out here, he swears that they'll fill 3 boxes up. Probably if you had drawn comb, I suppose maybe they will, but regardless, it just is happening very fast. So, yeah, I would venture to say that maybe you're just a tad behind us. And
I'd say I
ironically,
am, but when it comes, mine all came at once. Seemed like everything I've got other than that's blooming. I'm telling you.
okay.
Autumn olive, black locust, or
Yeah.
black locust. Everything but blackberry and black locust is pretty well blooming here.
Okay. So our autumn olive quit blooming probably about, I'm going to say not quite a week ago, maybe 4 days or so ago. The blooms kind of shrunk back. So I was surprised. So when we were in Colorado here, I don't even know what that was. Hey, Brian, help me out. What was that? 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, I guess. I can't believe how fast or how much Brian in his area was in front of us. I'm still just kind of blown away a little bit. So, I mean, because I think that Colorado, or Denver, Colorado specifically, has a pretty similar climate to what St. Louis does. Fairly similar temperatures. Obviously, they're much drier than us, but as far as the season starting up and warm days and things like that, they seem to be somewhat neck and neck with us. So, I don't know. It's just, this may sound like a broken record, but it almost seems like another odd year. And I think we've said that for the last handful of years, as far as weather and all that good stuff.
It was never a typical year.
I know that's right, isn't it?
Displayed. I seen your post there earlier there in the comments that you were very dry out there right now.
You're pretty dry.
Aren't you? I'm pretty familiar with that area.
I got a question for you.
We're super dry.
Wise gentlemen. So basically, I got a bunch of queen cells that I've basically put on the top of roller cages, and I got that fitted into some foam, and I have that into one of those paper. Well, it's not paper. Whatever, a plastic nuke. Anyway, and I shook some bees in there to use it as an incubator. Anyways, as I put the JZBZ starter cup into the roller cage, they sit on top real nice. The thing I'm kind of worried about is as I did that, I had already shaken in a bunch of bees. And they're nurse bees. They're real, I gave them a bit to fly away. But inside of a few of these, they're nurse bees inside the roller cages with the queen cell. Should I worry about that? Are they going to chew through that?
I'm going to say they will. And I'm not a queen raiser, but I'm going to say they will. What do you think, Tom? I'm glad.
Hey, Norman, I'm sorry. I stepped away to fill up my iced tea thing, and I didn't catch your entire story, so I apologize.
Well, I'll try to make it shorter. So I got roller cages, and I'm using bees as an incubator.
Mm-hmm.
And as I had put the JZBZ cups into the roller cages, a couple of bees got trapped inside.
Mm-hmm.
And there's bees all around them, so they can be fed from the outside. Should I worry about that? And this is only for like the next 24 hours before I deal with this. It won't even. It's like
so you're worried about
the
couple bees. You're worried about the couple bees that got inside the roller cage where there's a capped cell, waiting to emerge.
Yeah, they're not going to emerge. tomorrow. But should I worry about that? Do you think they'll chew through that?
I don't know. My opinion is no. I mean, I doubt it. So what's interesting is, and I don't know why this happens. I've seen this before. I've heard other guys talk about it many of times. And I tried to observe this myself. It's like if you have a queen in a colony and you introduce another queen or a cell inside a protector or whatever, and you put it in there, when that virgin hatches, the nurse bees will go up and continue to feed that. Okay. But the minute that queen gets out, and I don't think it's the nurse bees that are doing it, when that queen gets out, if there's another queen present or they have not accepted her, they'll ball her and kill her. But I don't think it's the nurse bees that do that. I think what's happened is I think the older bees are the ones that do the balling and killing. And I believe that the nurse bees are the ones that tendally do all the feeding, because, it's kind of like a young person or a baby. They haven't formed an opinion about things, I guess. It just,
they're still Democrats. They haven't turned
my
into Republicans
perspective
yet.
on something, So I don't know, but I could tell you absolutely not, they won't do it. And then you'd realize they'd tear them down. Right. So the only absolute is there's no absolutes.
I just told him the exact opposite, Tom.
Oh, you did?
I felt like they probably would. So,
well, if
So
there's
we got one on one side, one on the other.
well, Norman, now you have an experiment.
Yeah, might as well.
Right.
I did well this first round of queens, and I got another round going. So it's like I'm not going to be short queens this year.
You could sacrifice a couple for the educational purpose, right?
For the greater good. Yeah,
right.
I'll do it.
And then touch back with us and let us know your experience.
Oh, you got it. I definitely will.
So, Glade, what's going on way out west other than being dry?
We're dry and dry.
Well, that's been the story out there, isn't it? You came through winter dry, didn't you?
Yeah. We haven't, this is probably, I think it's the lowest recorded snow pack in history, or very near.
Wow.
Yeah, farmers are going to be hating life out here. I think they're going to have water probably through May at best, maybe into June. Not much after that.
Wow. Well, that don't sound too good.
No. It's going to be a dust bowl here by July.
That's not
So
good.
how
That's
did
wildfire issues.
How do the bees react to that? Obviously, there's nothing much to forage.
Yeah, I may be feeding bees all summer.
Wow.
No, we'll get a little bit. We'll get some flow in May and into June, and then after that, if it's that dry, it'll all shut off. And yeah, we may be feeding bees.
Wow.
well, I'm smelling smoke. I'm going to check out here for a second. Keith, I'll be back.
Okay.
Well, you never know. You might get the odd rain shower roll through the summer. It might actually be a real nice year too. That could be a reality as well. I noticed our weather pattern up here. It's what it had been for a number of years until maybe 2 years ago. It was basically, it rained once a year for 7 months, and then when the rain stopped, it got hot. And then it didn't rain. Like, it's basically, there's maybe a 2-3 week period where it flipped back and forth, but then it would never rain again until the fall. And then as soon as it started raining, everything changed, and it just never stopped again. But what I've noticed over the last 2-3 years is on the shoulder seasons, we're actually getting, the rain system's rolling through. It's like right now, it's like, I've probably had 30 fly days for bees, but like we've had since February, but we've had just lots and lots of rain. So it's like it's nice for a couple days or maybe a week, and then it's raining again. So like kind of like old school kind of weather, where it's nice for a while, it rains, nice rains, that sort of thing. You guys might get that.
Not likely.
Hmm.
We're Utah. We're the second driest state in the nation. We'll go months without rain.
That's not a good record to hold, Glade. When you have honeybees, that kind of is counterproductive, right?
Yeah, it can be, but you'd be amazed what they can gather around here. In a normal, whatever normal is, I can make 90 to 100 pounds of honey per hive.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Now, what do they forage in a dry climate like that?
Dust.
Good question.
Tumbleweeds.
Yeah, tumbleweeds.
Tumbleweeds.
I'll tell you what, Glade, I don't know much about Utah as I've never been there. However, it would seem that your climate is much similar to that of maybe like the high desert in Denver, Colorado area. Would that be a fair assessment?
Elevation wise, we're very similar to Denver.
Okay.
And we would be considered a high desert.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, when I was out there with Brian 2 weeks ago in his place, we seen just copious amounts of nectar inside the brood chambers. And I'm looking out, and you can see for miles across the desert areas, right? And I'm looking, and I'm like, help me understand where bees find nectar. There is no green here, for crying out loud. Here in St. Louis, Missouri, for the most part, we tend to have very green areas, a lot more rain, not the high desert area, lower elevation, etc. So we tend to see a lot of green here. So it's hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that no green to me would mean no nectar, but that is not the case there. So I don't know. It's mind boggling.
We get, what's hard right now is we get these up and down temperatures. I mean, we've already hit 80 degrees a few weeks ago, and tomorrow night's low will be 23, 22.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have highs in the 40s. And then we'll be back into the 70s. And that's what's hard on the bees out here is these up and downs. Things start to bloom, apricots all bloomed, and apples are pretty well done. But as soon as it warms up, things bloom, and then we get this hard killing frost. And it just wipes everything out. Because I was seeing nectar coming in 2 weeks ago as well. When I got into my hives yesterday I was in a couple of them. There's no nectar, none. There's a little bit of pollen coming in because the frost doesn't always take out the pollen. We've got dandelions blooming. So there's pollen coming in, but not much nectar or no nectar. And because of these hard frosts, we won't have any nectar for probably another 2 weeks. It depends on what blooms again, but it will be another couple of weeks. But we're about 3 weeks ahead of normal. I can't, whatever that is anymore, but things are blooming way sooner than they normally do this year. But so I don't know. I don't know what this year is going to bring for honey. I have no idea. If we can get if we could get a rainstorm come through, every couple of weeks, these high deserts, some of those plants will start producing some nectar. And you'll be surprised what kind of blooms out here. And doesn't take a whole lot of moisture, but if we can get a little bit of rain every couple of weeks, man, that'd really extend our season by a long ways.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'd say, just from the weather front, and this is, the magnetic North Pole is more in a traditional. It's actually close to where the North Pole is supposed to be right now, even though it's running across the north of the planet right now, and it's going to end up in Russia very quickly. But for now, it's back to where it was, probably in I'm just guessing, but they're like the 1910s or the 1800s kind of thing. And since then, it's been kind of wandering around a lot. So we've had these weird heat bubbles. If you're looking at the weather, the what is it? The big wind that goes around the top. The planes all use it. Sorry, the name just drops out of my head. The jet streams. The jet streams are setting up more in a traditional manner, or more of a textbook manner this year than they have, even more so than they have in the past. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I think we're gonna have a good year. I think you're gonna get a little bit of rain down there in Utah.
I hope so.
Norman, what would you say an average yield per colony would be on a average year in your area?
I couldn't tell you. I don't have the data. I'm a young, I've only been beekeeping for a couple of years.
Okay.
And I've been really aggressive at, splitting and making new hives. So I've been robbing them blind.
No, I get it. I understand that. Yeah, it's hard to get a fair assessment on that.
But, depending on the hive, like this, I have one particular hive that, I was saying I'm using to make queens now. And it's already bringing in nectar. And it's like nobody else is bringing anything in. Sorry, guys. I'm going to mute. I'll mute.
Hey, Norman, your bees are making a lot of noise back there.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some pretty feisty bees, aren't they?
I had a couple of questions here I thought we could talk about. Pencil Techie was asking how I got the bees off my supers. I'm kind of partial to skateboards. I've used fume boards in the past, fume boards and a blower. But the escape boards, I don't know. I really like those. When I put those on, it gives me a chance to kind of look through the supers, and I'll pull all the honey frames into one box and then put that one super up above the escape board. Obviously, it's a little bit more work the day before you pull, but boy, when the day that you do pull the honey, you can just roll right through pulling supers using escape boards. With fume boards, if you've got several of them, you can squirt them down and put them on top of several hives. And by the time you get the last one down, it's about time to start messing with the first one you put on. But it seems like with fume boards, I still end up using a blower more than I want to. But I'm an escape board kind of guy. What do y'all do, Tom?
I typically just use a fume board and then a couple of electric Milwaukee blowers, actually.
Yeah.
So I like the idea. I really do like the idea of escape boards, because I think in some ways it would be easy or easier. But in some ways, since I have yards that are not in my yard, it requires more effort in driving. So for me, it would be an extra round or an extra fuel, tank of fuel or a couple tanks of fuel to get around to all the yards. So
Yep.
I've always just chosen the more aggressive mode of action, if you will, hitting them with the stuff they don't like, causing them to push down. And after a couple minutes, whoever's left in there gets blown straight off the top of it. Those little blowers work pretty well. Ironically, for people that, might think that damages the bees, I'd probably argue the opposite, because if you are actually blowing them fairly aggressively out of the combs, what ends up happening is they're not the nurse bees that are up there. They're the bees that fly. So when you blow them out and they blow straight out, you watch them blow out and then they go up. So they don't blow out and hit the ground. So they immediately take flight once they head out of there. So I don't know, for us, it just seems to be more efficient, I guess. But then we do use some escape boards that we put on top of the honey supers that we stack on the flatbed and such to keep the bees from entering them, because typically when we are pulling, we're starting to get we've round out from our nectar flow, so the bees would like to rob at that point. But I don't know, that's just what I found that works for us. You know, if I had everything in one central location that was close to my house, I'd probably go out and throw, you know, the day before or a couple days before, throw them on there and then come back and pull them off, and it'd probably be a lot less chaotic. But
Yeah.
you know,
How about you, JW?
I'm a fume board man. And I think a lot of the fume board, whether you like them or dislike them, is there's quite a bit of difference in some of your extracting formulas. You know, some of it works better, a lot better than others. So I'm just telling you, my preferences is what I'm.
Yeah. How about you, Norman?
Well, I'm going to experiment with both this year. Up until now, it's like I'd pick up full frames like individually, because I didn't have enough that I had to do that. But I bought a box full, like I bought a bunch of stuff in bulk, so I have a bunch of those little cones for those skateboards, like little cones that go in, the kind of the one-way cones. So I'm gonna make a bunch of skateboards out of that, and I'm gonna also make a couple of fume boards and mess with that this year. See which way I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe.
Glade, do you have a preference?
I've been using fume boards, but I think I'd like to switch to escapes. Now that I've got a hive lifter, I never wanted to go lift 3 boxes of honey off, put on the skateboard, put 3 boxes of honey back on. I just didn't want to do that. So it sounded like a lot of back work. But now that I've got a hive lifter, I think picking those up just a little bit, sliding the skateboard in, let them back down, I think it'll be way easier. So I'm going to be making some skateboards this summer. Maybe in a few weeks here. I've got the wood for it. I just need to get to it.
Yeah, you definitely you touch the boxes a lot more, no doubt. Because if you got a hive that's got 2 or 3 supers on it, sometimes you can immediately tell it's like, okay, this one's full, this one's full. I just need to stick the board right here and stick them back on. That's pretty easy. But if you pull like I do and you don't wait till the supers are all full and you're going through manipulating the full frames and getting them all in one box, you're touching a lot of boxes, but the next day it's pretty easy. So yeah, I kind of like them. Yeah,
I watched your video today, Keith, and that's what I want to do. Like we're not on a nectar flow yet. It's still like the maples are just starting to go. Like we're way behind all you guys. But yeah, I want to do exactly what you did. Have a spring, because that spring honey, there's something special about it. It's really different.
Yeah, it like you say, it's just totally different than my tulip poplar once it comes in. So I try my best to split it off, and it worked good this year. So as long as the tulip poplars make something, but if not, I'll just have spring honey. So
yeah, you got spring honey, and if you have to, you give them some sugar or whatever.
There you go. You go.
I can give you guys a little tip that I learned last year after years of fighting it. That honey be gone for the fume boards. That will stop a a robbing frenzy sometime. You can just spray it in the, I've sprayed it in the air, spray it on the bees that's robbing, and they'll abandon the robbery. Just a thought, just a tip.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
What if you sprayed it on your best 80-year-old buddy? Would he go away or would he stick around?
No, you need Buddy be gone.
Buddy be gone. That's what it is. That's what it is. Well, I don't want him to leave. I just want to aggravate him a little bit, Norman.
He knows how to.
Well, don't use Buddy be gone. Just be Buddy annoyed or something.
I can give him the old buddy be gone treatment real quick on the video chats. I can tell you.
Yep. He'll just bail out on us. He'll go see a little Irish goodbye. He'll bail out.
Hey, J-Dub, along those lines, I was watching a video and somebody said they'd use Lysol or Pine Sol for exactly what you said to stop robbing frenzies. I forget who it was. I forget, whose video it was, but somebody said that.
I never used that. I might try it sometime. Though. How's it meaning to go, Joey? I assume that's where you've been.
Good. It went good.
Mm.
I heard somebody talking about bleach water last week.
It'd all be the same, I suppose. But I do know that what is it, honeybee gone or whatever. Yeah, there's different brands of that. Some of it's a lot better than the other stuff.
What do you like best?
Well,
Some of it's stinky.
I think anything with a strong odor helps with the robin. I keep a jar of Vicks Vapor Rub and some Noxzema up at the shop, and it, your home bees, they're going by sight trying to find their way home, and the robbers are going by smell. And if you can screw that up a bit, you can slow them down. Makes the bee yard smell kind of funky for a while, but
Little Vicks in the bee yard.
but the bees have clear skin and no cough.
No coughing.
The prettiest bees of the high school.
Do any of you guys use moth crystals for protecting comb in the supers?
Yeah.
Gosh, I hate the smell of that stuff.
That's where I get rid of him when he goes to
Oh,
my
man.
place.
I'll tell you what. You go over to JW's place and he opens that one container where he stores that stuff. I'll tell you what, I about throw up every time he fires that door open. I can't hang out in there very long.
It reminds me of Grandma's house.
Yeah.
Because Grandma,
I've given up so much honey for the wax I've made. There's just no way I'm giving. I don't care what it smells like. I'm not giving it back.
Mm-hmm. Come on. You got your quack? Where's your quack? Where's your quack? Go get your quack.
yeah, I like options where you don't have to open the hive up.
Uh-huh. Oh, here's something I want to throw out there for you guys. Something I'm thinking of messing with. It might not have mattered to you guys who use wood because your hives don't totally seal completely. Like there's always a little air gap here or there. But for what I use, they're so insulated. They're not hermetically sealed, but they're pretty damn sealed because of the foam I use and all that. But anyways, you know how everybody's using the double bubble on the top, like that silver foam? I'm going to try Tyvek. So for the logic is that if you got bubble, when the bees eat the honey or whatever, they make a lot of moisture into the air and then it'll go up. And then if it's the bubble, it's going to condense on the roof, no matter what, probably in the corners and go down the walls. So then for me in a rainforest, it adds to a lot of moisture. But if I use Tyvek, the moisture will go up and through it into like, the upper little cavity above it. And then it'll turn into water. It'll condense on the roof, and then it'll rain down onto the Tyvek and then drain out the sides outside of the hive. I think that might be a thing.
You're going to have to try it.
I will.
Well, Joey, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, still been going through some of the nukes, waiting on them to get laying good. I've got supers on pretty much everything. And then I took a couple of days break with the exception of transferring swarms. Our privet's picking up. I'm starting to see more and more of it. So that's good.
Andrew.
This is the time of year I hate beekeeping.
This is the time you're supposed to love.
Well, you get to that when you get to that point where you start seeing the payoff, it starts getting fun again.
There was an unfamiliar chat on there, Keith. I don't know. You might want to watch it. Oh, I don't see it coming back. May be legit too.
Yeah. Okay. Uh-oh. Sorry, Brian. I got the unpaid version. I can only get 6.
I can back out.
Yeah, let me off. Let me on. I'll eat.
I'll
Let me
get
check out and I'll eat and let him on, Keith.
You
Who's
should.
Brian?
I'll check out.
Okay, JW. I appreciate you popping in.
Yeah.
Well, Joey left.
Joey just left.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I know this guy. It's Grandpa Castle.
Honest, I took a shower today.
Man, if I would have known it was him, I would have left.
We were all thinking about leaving.
Welcome,
Blade.
Brian.
Joey's like, I'm out. JW's, I'm out. Glade's like, oh, I got something to do.
Oh, well.
See what happens.
So how are you, Brian?
I'm all right. I'd be a lot better if the rain up here would stop.
Send it my way.
I mean, it is just nuts. I mean, let me see here. Oh, this weather station thing I have here doesn't have the number like rain listed on it. We have had so much rain up here. Literally every day we've had storms come through. So it just is. I mean, it is something. And then we've got, although this is Northeast Ohio, Sunday night and then Monday night, we will be 30 degrees. So it's that time of year. Tornadoes one day, frost the next night. It's all good, you know? So
You're
We're
getting
supposed to get a little bit cooler over the weekend too.
What's coming through tonight here? Because
do you have that now, Glade?
yeah, we're right on the edge of the cold front coming through.
Oh,
Winds are blowing 15 to 20 miles an hour.
yeah.
And we haven't quite dropped on the backside of that cold front. As soon as those winds stop, our temps are gonna drop here. We'll be down in the 20s in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think after that though we'll be good. I mean, we've had it pretty good though. I mean, our weather, we have had like nice warm days. Yesterday and today we hit 80. So for like the what April, whatever the date today is, April 16th, and we've had 2 days around 80 already. That's unheard of.
That's
So,
fantastic.
yeah. And the colonies are, the bees are loving it. So they are about as built up. I know I got a picture. They're about as built up as built up can be. I mean, that's how most of mine are. That's the second box. That's before I put on I put a second super on them. The last time I went over, I threw excluders on. I busted them all down to singles. I pushed the queens down, those that needed pushed down. Most of them were already down in the deep, laying up already, though. So I got my excluders on. I threw another super on just to give them that space. And I'm thinking next week, after that cold snap, I think I'll check just signs and then possibly, start my demarays, and I'll see how my other colonies are and split those too. So, yeah, we're getting busy. So, and the demarays, that'll be fun. So, I want to be like Charlie. That's what I want to do. I want to be like Charlie, and then one day I want to be like Keith, where I have like a honey cellar that's hidden with this like secret door in the woods next to the creek.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So parrot farm's having a real hard time there. You lost a couple of queens from Oliverius, and I'd tell you, yeah, it's the shipping that's the problem. Like we're us in Canada, I can tell you, like we ship a lot of things to the States, and we're just having an absolute nightmare of a time moving things around. Like forget about the tariff parts of it. Even like once the things are in the States, it's like they're losing packages like crazy. We've never made so many insurance claims ever. Like I don't know what's going on, but
crazy.
Yeah, you let them know, they'll make you whole.
I tell you, I hate, all out hate getting queens through the mail. The last time that I had queens that were coming here through the mail, I get them all from Greg now. So when I do get them, I drive to his place and pick them up, and they literally never hit any type, like they don't hit USPS, FedEx, UPS, anything. All they do is they go into my car. The last time I was having queens shipped to me, now normally they were, they'll call and I drive to the post office and I pick them up. I got an email in the morning that said, your box is on the truck out for delivery. And it was middle of the summer, upper 80s. And I was like, what? So I called and I said, yeah, I just got an email stating that my, box is out for delivery. I said, that can't go on the truck. I said, you will cook what's in the box. And they said, well, it has to say that on the box. And sure enough, when I got there, like they caught the driver and got the queens, and right on the box, it says, there were instructions on there, call customer, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just sitting there looking at it and they're like, well, mistakes happen. And I said, yeah, but there's queen bees in there. You can't make a mistake like this, And they were just like, well, it's just, it happens sometimes, sir. It's like, I hate dealing with those companies anymore. Hate it.
Mm-hmm. And then that being said, it's like we have a couple of the greatest delivery guys that'll just bend over backwards for you. It's like we had a FedEx pickup today, and we have a box at the end of the driveway, and the guy didn't take the package. He was there, and he's like, waited for me to come to the gate. He's like, hey, I need to talk to you. And he's like, yeah, your paperwork, it's not going to work. They've changed everything. Like this will get bounced back. And he's like, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do my route. I'll come back. I'll be back at 3. How about that? I'm like, yeah, you're a lifesaver. Thanks, man. So, he just saved us another insurance claim right there. And he came and he picked it up the same day. So I was like,
That's
some
awesome.
guys are like, that's a driver for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We've got one now that's like that. I mean, he's pretty decent. There's been times where I'm like shipping something and I forget to put it out in the mailbox, or I forget to put it on the front door. There's a little table by our front door, and he will actually knock on the door and say, I had that, I was supposed to pick up a package. And I'm like, oh, I just got busy in the house and I forgot to set it out. He'll knock on the door and ask. Some of them, they're just like, oh, well, But yeah, our delivery guy now for USPS, he's pretty decent. But they're not all like that, though. They're not all like that.
No. But it seems the good ones, they seem to be sticking around for whatever reason. So we appreciate that. Then we got another one, the UPS guy. We love him because he loves our dogs. He doesn't like us. Like the driver doesn't like us. He just likes our dogs, and so always giving them treats and all that. So it's like the dogs just love them.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah. It's always good when they like your pets.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, like the whole system is really, really complicated and screwy right now, and I have no idea why. But yeah, we barely ever made an insurance claim ever. And like, I didn't even want to tell you how many we've done this year. It's so many. And that gets frustrating too, because it's like, oh yeah, you're insured. It's like, yeah, you'll pay me next year for it. It's like, thanks for that. It's like, we'll have to reimburse the customer, take that hit, and the hit of the product. So it's like, it's like costs us twice as much to do the thing. And it's like, and you'll cover us, by next year. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, really.
That's corporations.
Oh yeah. Keith, that was me there for a second. I don't know how to mute one screen. So I'm a rookie at this whole thing.
Yeah. Kevin wanting to know where Tom went. I'm not really sure where Tom went. Did he fall out of his chair, or?
And did he go to the left or the right? Tell us.
I don't remember. He just disappeared.
Maybe Melissa's beating him.
It's like when JW left, Tom.
He's not muted.
Yeah.
If he was muted, he might be being beaten.
Right. Huh. He's probably trying to Google how bees forage on dust. Yeah. Glade, you can gladly come out here and take some of the moisture.
If I could bring some back, I would.
It's raining right now.
We can't buy a raindrop.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I got something to sell you. Oh boy.
Yeah, there's a line of storms coming through Tennessee. We might get a little bit out of that after a while, but then our next chance, I think, is next weekend. We have a chance. So
let me see here.
Yeah. Getting a little crunchy. I think the whole states, I'm sure there's several states have burning bans.
It's hilarious, Keith, that you say that, because Ohio actually has a burn ban going on right now. And I'm like, when I saw it on the news, they said, oh, there was a statewide burn ban issued. I said, so the boxes or whatever you're burning doesn't float down the stream when it's flooded? I'm like, why is there a burn ban? And yeah, I didn't understand that. And I'm like, whatever.
That's a little crazy.
Yeah, but we actually are in a burn ban up here, and we've had, I think in the last probably 2 months, we've probably had almost 10 inches of rain up here. It's been crazy the amount of rain we've had up here.
That's more rain than we get all year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the stupid thing about burn bans is, like, if they don't give you a nice dry day, like, oh no.
Sorry, guys, I fell down the stairs.
Should we call 911?
I'm just kidding. I was sitting in the other chair over there trying to eat a taco real quick. Sorry, Melissa made tacos and I was starving. So
Oh, that's fine. We just had some viewers that were worried about you.
oh, cool. Who was it? I'll send them a
I
thank
think
you
it was
card or
Kevin.
something. Kevin?
Just Kevin.
Just Kevin.
It's just Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate you, man.
He thought you fell out of your chair or something.
Now,
Yeah.
Melissa made tacos and she was eating one right there. And I'm looking at it going, boy,
Well, that's
I'm really
cruel.
hungry. So I swallowed the taco.
She should have set up a little fan and was like blowing the scent of it over towards you, you know?
Well, when she heard what you guys were saying, she went to the freezer and got this. It's an ice pack. It's a little gel pack thing. She goes, here, when you go back on the screen, put this over your eye. Tell them you fell down the stairs. Excuse me.
That's awesome.
We got a question here about wax dipping that I don't have a clue. Can anybody help out? Send Ken stuff here.
I
I
believe
have no
that sounds
idea.
correct. I don't remember what the chemist said, and I believe it wasn't last year, but the year before, the gentleman who developed it, I believe he's a chemist, had given a presentation, which I did not watch, but I heard a couple of guys that were in there spout off some information, and I've listened to it before. I don't remember exactly how many minutes it was. I know it was 300 degrees for a short time. We use the Hive Guard branded wax now and have for the last few years. And we do ours between 300 and I try not to get over 320. And we do it for 6 to 7 minutes inside there.
Yeah, my only cat you guys see what I use for hives, so it's a completely different thing. But you guys with your wax dip, I'd be a little concerned about fire. But I guess like if you got enough fire that it's gonna catch your hive, that the wax isn't gonna make that big a difference. It'll just go up a little quicker. But I would have that in the back of my mind, like that's a consideration, eh? Is it or is it not?
My question for Send Ken stuff is, sound like you've dipped a lot of boxes. My question is, how long have you been dipping for, and what was the temperature in which you were doing it at?
You see what Russell said there? 85-year-old Keith saying my boxes only last 19 years. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
I've never gotten that wax up to 400 degrees. I think the highest I probably realized it would be maybe 350. We keep a temperature probe in it the entire time and try to pay attention to it. Sounds like you've dipped a lot of boxes this year. We didn't do 750 pieces this year, but when we did our boxes, I did 85 of my own. And for the EMBA club, this was the smallest year we had done anything. I want to say it was like 125 pieces, so a couple hundred pieces. Last year, I think we dipped, 400 within a couple of days.
Just worried, misleading customers saying it's 20 years. Well, just don't give it to them in writing.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Just do a handshake.
I just tell them, I'm like, this is what's suggested that people will realize out of it. But I've only been beekeeping since 2018, and we've only been wax dipping since 2020, I think it was. So I'm like, ask me in 20 years and I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tom, where did you say you were on the flow? Are you all supered up now, ready to roll?
Well, I just got most. Let me think about this. Not most. I've gotten 3 out of the 8 yards supered. And I only put one super on it just to gauge right now. I can go back next week and drop a couple more if necessary. But I didn't want them they were still building some combs in the lower boxes. Since we had pulled splits out, we put new foundations in there, new frames in there. And I wanted them to focus on getting those completely drawn out. But I also wanted to give them an excess point if there was too much of a flow to put some of the nectar to start drying it down. So I went ahead and started throwing it on, but also realizing the drawback to us building nucleus colonies on the double screen board over the parent colony is that when you want to manage the parent colony, you have to remove one box. So that's the downfall to overwintering over a double screen board. I'm not sorry. When you're building your nukes over a double screen board. However, much like what Brian Coper is going to be seeing, he's talking about 30 degrees. And I think this weekend, if I remember correctly, let me look and see what it says. My temperatures in my neck of the woods, overnight lows. So Saturday night's going to be 46, Sunday night's 39, Monday night's 44. So a few lower temperatures, which are nothing dramatic, but I think that's where I'll have the added benefit of the double screen board is those overnight lows when they're a little bit cooler. It'll still allow those smaller nucleus colonies to grow without having much of a drop, kind of a setback, if you will. It'll continue to push them a little bit further. When me and Matt Ramsbottom, he had done a bunch of his own this last year over double screen boards. And then also when we ran out, I had some built in like a pro nuke, and I think he had done some of the same, if I remember correctly. And per compare contrast, we realized that our nukes that were built over a double screen board, given the temperatures that we were experiencing, allowed those nucleus colonies to be ready about 7 to 10 days ahead of the ones that were built just out of a pro nuke. So that thermal regulation it's a real thing. They have to be able to keep that nest warm enough. So anyway, so yeah, the flow is really starting to kick off, and it's seems like it's coming in like a lion.
I may have to go pull
Good
some
deal.
of my pro nukes.
So if it would stop raining for Brian and start raining for Glade, they would be in good shape.
It would be fantastic. Yeah. We need to talk to somebody and see if we can arrange that.
Somebody higher up than I am has all the power.
Was Glade breaking up for you guys there?
He was.
Better now?
A little bit. It sounds staticky.
Really?
Hey, Dot, are you seeing the black locust and a pretty good flow in your area right now?
Yeah, the black locust is blooming here. It's not a huge nectar source, but one of the many miscellaneous nectar sources this time of year. But it's definitely blooming.
Mm-hmm.
The blackberries are about to pop, and of course the tulip poplar. I saw some blooms today, so that's the star of my show.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's a good taste in honey.
Yeah, I like it. A lot of folks seem to like that, so that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just don't know how the drought's going to affect all that. Obviously, it takes moisture to make nectar, so we'll see. Now, when are you selling most of your nukes, Tom? Is that hadn't happened yet, has it?
No, that won't happen until the very, very tail end of this month.
Yeah. Okay.
My plan right now, and I think it'll still accomplish, based upon where we're at. We introduced a bunch of queens a week ago. So let's see. Let me go forward. Okay, so
There's already soap in it.
if I can have a good solid 3 weeks of that queen laying inside there,
Yeah. You don't need dishes
so we can then
anymore.
realize what that pattern looks like. You really can't get a true read on what a laying pattern looks like until after they get it capped, you know. So that's what I like to see is it's capped. So I would say likely by the very, very tail end of this month, we'll probably do a few different days pickup on 2 different weeks. That way I can still get some work stuff done in between because that does consume a lot of time. Melissa will usually set up some sort of
Genius.
she'll go on like Sign Up Genius and she'll create spots for pickup, and she'll put so many nukes in these slots and people can go in and choose time slots throughout a few different evenings and also early mornings, because we don't really push anything out midday because I refuse to close anything up when the sun's shining. Now, if it's a rainy or cloudy day, I don't have a problem doing that. But if the sun's shining, I won't close them up and leave them closed. So that's why we do early morning pickups and later in the evening. So it seems to work out okay.
Now, how many were you shooting for this year to sell?
I was shooting for 150. I don't remember now where my tally was at on what we had sold, honestly. There's still a bunch of orders that are coming in pretty frequently. There's a few people around us that have kind of like sold out. So we're just kind of, and if we don't sell them, we'll just turn them back into the operation. So it's fine with me. Brian, do you sell any nucleus colonies? No.
No, I don't want to deal with getting stuck mentoring people.
Yeah.
So this was the first year that I'll go down to Greg's, like when he does his package pickup days, and I offered to the club, I said, hey, if any of you want to buy packages from him, I will bring them up. Just, since I'm already going down there anyways, I'll just drive them up here and save people the 2 hour, however long the drive is for them. And I already, like on the second package pickup day, the very next day after that, the Sunday, while I was over in like a 2.5 hour time frame checking my colonies, I had, between text messages and phone calls from people, I had 13 messages from club members. One guy called me 5 times. It was like every 5 minutes. And then the other night, what night was it? I don't know. I forget. It was either Monday or Tuesday night. 9 o'clock, my phone started again. It was that same guy, and he's an older gentleman. And prior to the other night, I was kind of, I'd be polite. Like I told him Sunday when he called, I said, look, you only have to call one time. If I don't answer, I'm busy.
That's right.
I was checking my colonies. You don't every 5 minutes call, because I said, when I feel my pocket buzzing that much, I think something's wrong, So it's just instinct. I step back, take a glove off, and I start checking stuff. And I said, if it's just you have a question about feed and stuff, it's like, I want to get my work done. So the other night he started at 9 o'clock at night, and it was like, he called and I was laying in bed. So it's like, I was crashing early. I was tired. And the phone goes, and I'm just like, I looked at the number and I'm like, oh, and it literally was like 4 or 5 minutes later, it rings again. And I just, oh yeah. And he started it, and I picked it up and I said, David, I am laying in bed right now. I said, I was up at 6 something in the morning. It's 9 o'clock at night. I'm tired. I said, tomorrow I have to get up at 6 something again. And he started laughing and he said, well, I don't go to bed till 11. I said, well, up to this point, I've been polite with you. I said, but I am just going to tell you, I don't give a dude. what time you go to bed, you need to respect the boundaries of having my phone number. And I went click, and he hasn't called back.
So he got the point.
So,
That's pretty uncalled for on his behalf to be doing that. First of all,
yeah.
For the most part, I haven't had a problem, but I used to have a customer that was somewhat like that, would call me 7 days a week, as early as 6 o'clock in the morning, late in the evening. And we did a lot of work for this customer, actually. And honestly, I end up dropping her. And I told her,
Wow.
I said, I can't keep up with your demands. I'm like, I think that you're probably looking for somebody else. I do have a life outside of this.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to answer my phone at 9 o'clock at night, and I'm not going to answer it on Sundays. You know what?
Right.
This is landscaping, for crying out loud. We're not doing open heart surgery. I don't need to answer my phone at these times. Be respectful.
I already told, I told the club when I gave out my phone number, I said, please have some boundaries. I said, if it's after 7 o'clock, there probably is nothing urgent going on at that time that you have to call me. I said, if it's later in the day, I said, just give me a call the next day. Or I said, shoot me a text, and I told people though too about Sundays. I said, look, Sundays, I said, I do try and go to church. I said, it doesn't happen every week, but I said, I do try and go to church. I do try and spend time with family. So I said, it's got to be a pretty good darn reason why you're going to bother me on a Sunday. I said, just so you guys know the boundaries of when to call. And I messaged the one other officer the other night after he blew my phone up. And I said, just a heads up. I said, the older gentleman there, I said, he's been lighting my phone up like crazy. And I said, I just kind of told him, I said, he was just calling, and she said it's 9:15 right now. And I said, exactly. I said, he was every 5 minutes calling. And I said, I'm laying in bed, so, and then I told her the comment that he said, and she goes, oh no, but
that's pretty ridiculous. Somebody that's not respecting your boundaries and time. I don't typically ever, unless I know the person well, I don't typically make a phone call before 7 o'clock. And if it's a customer callback, it's most of the time it's 8 o'clock. I'll do some of my other calls and stuff like that beforehand. And then the same thing goes for the evening. I try not to call a customer back after preferably 5, but sometimes in the spring when we're really busy, it might be like 6 or 6:30,
Look at Joey. That's deep. I'm going to call him up right now too.
Call him up. Get him on here. Let's chew him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys need to set up one of those 900. Remember those 1-900 numbers where you got to pay for it?
I like that.
Whatever it is, it's $10 a minute or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I
put all your crappy clients on that.
You know what I used to do when I used to travel for work a lot, and we were supporting hospitals, when they would flip the program live, and we would we'd be actually on the units and supporting people instead of just training. They started a couple of the companies, they would tell us, give your cell phone number, that way they can get in touch with you if you're not on the unit, because we would typically round multiple units.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hesitant at first, and because I told him, I said, I just have a cell, I'm not going to pass around my cell to hospitals throughout the country, and then somebody had told me, they said, just make a Google number. So I would do that. I would just create a Google number. And then when I was done with that client, I was deactivated.
Mm-hmm.
It's smart. Almost like I need to do that, is just set up a Google number and just give that to people.
Mm-hmm.
And just set it for certain times,
Listen, Brian, please don't give me the Google number. I promise I won't call you every 5 minutes at 9 o'clock being like, Brian, how do you mix 1-to-1 sugar syrup? What's the ratio?
Yeah. Look at
Listen, I don't care what time it is. I want to talk to Brian.
Joey.
They hung up on me.
Dang it. Hey, Joey, give it 4 minutes and call him back.
That's one of the best things that's happened all day.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Well, thanks, Keith. Good to see you, gentlemen. I'm off.
See you,
Okay.
Norman.
Good night, Norman.
You take care.
Hope it quits raining.
I'm gonna bow out too. So
Glade, you
Glade,
take
have a
care,
good
buddy.
evening.
I'll see if I can't get some wind to blow some of this rain out your way.
that'd be nice.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to get rid of it.
Have a good night, everyone.
Glade, you take care, buddy.
See you, Glade.
See you later,
Yeah.
Glade. Thanks for popping in.
And there you go. Flower Street says Coper needs a beekeeper burner phone.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. Google Voice, that's it. Brent said there. That's it. That's what I used to do. Yeah. Oh, well. Keith, and you,
I was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
no, I was going to say, I mean, like, there's people already pulling honey supers.
Keith's one of them.
I mean, I know, and I'm seeing pictures from Mike Berry that he's got frames that are all capped out, and I'm like, I live in the-
Mike took that picture last year.
He's fibbing.
it's fake news.
Nah,
It's
just
AI.
kidding.
I'm pretty sure Keith, all the Keith's bees are sucking all the nectar up out of the United States. He's making the rest of us suffer. Is what's happening here. I'm pretty convinced of it.
Yeah, what did we say that was? The Shacktown Nectar
That's
cartel.
right. That's right. Yep. That's right.
Ridiculous.
I don't know. The ladies just bring it in and I pull it out.
That's a good trade-off.
Yeah.
His next picture in the woods next to that creek, you know how there was like that little like hidden door there? Next in the fall here, he's going to have 2 doors now because the one like storage cellar, it's going to be filled.
Mm-hmm.
Craziness.
I know, right?
Yeah. That's good though. That's good.
Well, I think there is something to be said for doing multiple pulls like that, keeping those girls empty, you know? I wish that I had enough time that I could do that. For me right now, it doesn't make sense for me to do that. But I mean, I do think that you can build more of a honey crop if you can keep it pulled off of them.
yeah.
You know? So
I'm, in all honesty, this year so far, at least up to this point, I have put more time in setting the colonies up for the honey flow than any prior year.
yeah.
So just getting things staged, getting things ready. And I've even got other honey supers and things like that already set up in the honey building. I went through the other day just to check, and I just don't want to get behind. You know, I don't want to try this will be my first year doing that Demaray. So I don't want to end up, you know, in the middle of it and then being like, oh, well, darn it, I'm out of equipment, you know, and then I'm calling up Mr. Burns there saying, hey, you know, I need to drive down. So, but I just want to stay ahead of things and just, I mean, like you, Keith, I probably will, if they do fill out some boxes, I probably will do multiple extractions. I will.
Yeah, I think there's some good to be gained from doing that. Yeah, I think when people pull supers and they're just plumb full, I think they've left some on the table.
Yeah.
Sin Ken stuff has a good question up there. He asks, said you guys feel entrances and supers get more honey?
I forget the exact percentage, but it was that their Yappy said, now it wasn't like an astronomical percentage, but I think he said that when you alternate your supers, that way they have that entrance, and I've started to do that. He said that it was like what did he say, like a 6% boost or something like that. There was a certain percentage boost, and I don't know, I don't understand the whole reasoning why, but he started saying this and that, and I just remembered like this percentage, and I thought, well, maybe I'll do that just to see. And I will stagger one of the boxes, if there's 3 on there, I'll stagger 2 of them. And they're not using it as entrances. You'll just see them all lined up with their rears in the air, and they're just fanning like crazy.
Don't Bob do that too?
Huh?
Bob
Yeah.
Benny, don't he do that too?
I think I've seen a couple people that are doing that. I
Yeah,
know
Bob's talked about it
also.
before. He always suggests that by doing that, you do 2 things. His suggestion was that it helps to downplay the swarming impulse. Also, it gives them another entrance to dry the nectar down, and also to bring it into the hive. So I believe he had talked about that before on a video or 2, if I'm not mistaken.
See, and I sat watching the one day, and it was on the back side of the colony, so I wasn't standing in the front. And their main highway, it was wide open, and I just sat there and was watching them. And I didn't see any bees that were like passing off anything. It was literally the entire crack was just filled with bees with their rears up in the air, and they were just fanning. So I didn't see none that were coming in passing anything. It was all the activity. It was still from the front. So now if that helps dry it faster, so that then I don't know, maybe if it does like decrease the energy consumption because they're not having to work as hard to dry it and then cap it. I don't know, but I'd have to talk to Yappy, because I know that's probably been 2 years ago that he and I had that conversation. So I can't remember what I did last week, let alone 2 years ago when I talked to Yappy. So makes sense though, if you're looking at it for the energy consumption and things like that. But
yeah,
I don't know if that'd help or hurt down here. I could try a couple of them and see. I got up this morning, first thing I did was check the temperature, and the humidity was 100.
ew,
oh my gosh.
yuck.
It didn't really feel like it, though. I thought something was wrong with the internet.
Wonder what I'm at.
Joey, I think Bruce does that.
Yeah, Bruce does it.
So
Yeah, he does. I've seen that.
I would imagine if Bruce does it, you'd be able to do it over your way.
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
I've always wondered, for the bees, the art of making honey is that forager. She comes in with the nectar and offloads it to another bee. I call them the transfer bees, the ones that run back and forth up to the super.
Yeah.
And then, every time they transfer it, they add enzymes to the honey, and they transfer it a bunch of times between the bottom board and the super. Now, if you put a crack up at the super, they're not going to transfer it as many times. So,
Good point.
what does that do? Does that make I'm not going to say a lower quality honey, but does that make a different honey? I don't know.
That's a good point.
They definitely don't have as many chances to swap it around.
Yeah.
If they're going straight in the box.
Unless they just swap it on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
the only thing I can think of for that would be if you did notice certain bees that were utilizing those entrances to set up some type of an experiment where they would get into like certain colored like solutions, just so that you could monitor exactly where, as far as entrances and things like that, so that you could somewhat judge then, well, hey, the blue is going through the upper, the red is going through the lower, just I don't know, just so you could judge if they did pass it off, something. I don't know. But I don't know that, like I said, though, I didn't really see mine utilizing it as an entrance where they would pass it off, though. All the
I'll
traffic.
tell you what I saw one time. It was before I retired, and it was in the bee yard behind the house where I lived when I was working. But I had double deeps with a deep on top. And if I remember right, there was a medium on top of that that deep. That was 2 honey supers. And back then I used all telescoping hives with inner covers. And anytime I'd put a super on, I'd flip it over where the little hole would be down and they could use that as an entrance. I watched bees for days coming out of the bottom entrance, crawling up like ants to the top. They did that for days. I don't know if they was getting nectar transferred to them and they was taking a shortcut instead of going through all them bees. But they did that for days, just like an ant trail.
Interesting. Yeah, I tossed all of my inner covers. Well, I mean, I didn't toss them. They're in the building. I don't use them. And all of my telescoping lids, they're all in there too. I need to actually go through that stuff and just write up a list and just ask people, say, hey, is there anybody looking for some cheap equipment just to get rid of it? Because I probably have 10 or 15 8-frame boxes between deeps and some mediums that I have. Everything is 10 frame now, and I just need to get it out of that building just to get rid of equipment that I'm not using.
Can you drive it down to my house?
Come, I tell you what, if you're planning on, or aren't you planning on coming up to Ohio at some point?
I mean, I'd like to. If you guys do a little dealio at the farm up there,
Yeah,
I would come up. You know, make it like a weekend or something. It wouldn't be able to happen before probably
maybe later.
sometime in June.
Yeah, we could chat. Because do you run all 8-frame?
That's it, 8-frame.
Oh,
So you're all 10, I'm all 8.
yeah.
I wouldn't need like any bottom boards or lids or anything like that, but
You'd have to take it all.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe Joy can drive up and take that.
just take it all. Yeah. Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Greg,
It's been a minute since I've been through Ohio.
See, we'll go up there and we'll we'll stir up some trouble, Joey. We'll go up there and get those Ohio guys stirred up a little bit.
Joe, you're not missing much up here.
Sounds like it's still chilly and rainy.
Well, it's 60 right now, but this weekend here, I guess on Sunday, it's actually the next bee club meeting. The high on Sunday in my area is going to be 46. So, yeah, that's chilly. So, right when I went through some of my clothes the other day, and I got the shorts and stuff out, and now it's going to be 40 some degrees. So,
you got the shorts out for 40 something degrees?
Well, I got shorts out today. I was sitting there, because I'll just put winter stuff, I'll pack it away. And I just went through and I saw some shorts that I didn't realize that I had. And I'm like, oh, I got to get that stuff out. So I went through the clothes and, I did the good husband thing, and I did laundry and, folded stuff and did all of that. I put all these shorts, it's all organized, and then I'm looking at the forecast and I'm like,
I just muted Brian where nobody could hear him.
See,
I can still hear him.
That's because I'm talking about doing laundry.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Well, gentlemen, we've been going for a couple of hours now. I hate to cut it off, but I got to roll out about 5 o'clock in the morning to go to a event with Bertha.
Shoot.
So, World War II Day at a local middle school.
Nice.
So that'll be fun.
Take some videos of the 50.
Oh, the kids
Brian,
look
we're
like
going to go up there to down to his neck of the woods so we can play around with that.
One day I'm going to get me a picture on that thing.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking
the
about.
kids will be climbing on it tomorrow, and they'll be taking their selfies on the machine guns. So
Nice.
it'll be great.
Keith,
That's
I got to
awesome.
send you a picture of, it would be my great, let me see here. Yeah, it'd be my great grandfather's pew pew from one of the wars. Way back then, when you left the service, you could purchase your pew pew thing,
Oh yeah.
and I actually have the paperwork and everything, like from when he was discharged, and the actual bill of sale, everything like that. When my grandma passed away, they went through all the grandsons and were like, okay, you get to pick a pew pew, and I was the youngest grandson, and that was the last one left. And after all was said and done, they're looking at it and they're like, that one there has the most sentimental value and probably the most value altogether, just from what was there. But yeah, it's all functional. So
That's cool.
Oh
it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Good history.
it is. Yeah, that thing. I mean, it's probably it's got to be 80 or so years old. So, yeah, cool piece of history. Yeah, yeah. But
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and shut this thing down, folks. I really appreciate y'all being in the chat tonight. I appreciate the support. It's good to see y'all every week. But and the guys that popped in the chat, thank you very much for helping me out. So until next week, y'all take care, keep beekeeping fun, and we will see you later.